Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us for the AssessPrep and ManageBac classes integration webinar. Also, thanks to the people who are watching this as a recorded version. We really appreciate you taking out the time during this busy season at your schools. In this webinar, we bring to you a bunch of new features within AssessPrep and a live walkthrough of all the latest developments that have taken place between ManageBac and AssessPrep. I'm very excited. I know you are as well. But before we jump into all of that good stuff, let me go through the logistics real quick. So everybody from the attendees is in listen-only mode, so you would not be able to speak and ask your questions. However, we highly encourage you to write all your questions within the questions section or within the chat, and our team will try and get to those questions. If we are not able to answer there, we have some slot reserved at the end. We'll try and answer those questions at the end. Moving on to the panelists. So, hey, my name is Lakshay, and I'm the International Sales Manager at ManageBac. And with me, I have the co-founder of AssessPrep, Shikhar Sethi.
Hi, everyone. It's great to have everybody here.
Awesome. All right, so let's quickly then jump into the next slide and talk about the agenda for today's webinar. So we understand, and we went through the list of the attendees, so we understand there are some schools that have not been using AssessPrep or are new. So for them, we would do a quick 5-minute introduction to what AssessPrep is. And then we'll talk about all the good stuff, all the updates that AssessPrep team has been working on over the summer. We'll take about 10 minutes. Then we'll take 30 minutes to explain exactly what is going on with the ManageBac and AssessPrep integration and see that live in action. And towards the end, as I mentioned, we'll reserve some time for question answers, and we have a couple of polls as well along the session for all of you. So I guess over to you, Shikhar, and we can get started with the webinar.
Thank you so much, Lakshay, for that introduction. Welcome everybody again. Before we start off, I'm just going to fire off a quick poll question just to get an idea of who all is in the audience. So you should be seeing a question on your screen right now about your current status with AssessPrep. We'll just wait a little bit, 30-40 seconds while everybody puts in their answers, and then we'll continue. We're seeing the answers come in. We're just going to give it another 10-15 seconds. You should be seeing the question on your screen. Perfect. So thank you so much for that. Just gives us a good idea of who's in the audience, and we can see there's about 60% of you who are completely new and about 40% who are customers. So welcome everybody. We'll just start off with a quick introduction to AssessPrep. As some of you already know, we started about 4 years ago with the goal of making assessments more efficient, more interactive, and cater to a wide range of curricula for formatives and summatives. And we're happy to say that we've served over 200 customers so far, and we're adding more every day. And we're reaching almost 1 million assessments on the platform. Just an overarching workflow of what happens on AssessPrep is right here, that if you're a ManageBac school, your setup and integration is one click. So all your teacher, user, student, and parent accounts are created automatically on AssessPrep. Your classes, subjects, and all the memberships are synced and maintained. So you just jump in and start creating assessments immediately. You choose your assessment settings and the students you want to deliver the assessment to, and you once the students start the assessment, whether it's online or through the lockdown application, you can monitor live progress through our live invigilation dashboard, and chat in real time, make announcements, view exactly what's happening in that assessment. And once the submissions come back in, you can grade and analyze the results right on AssessPrep and export them into a PDF or Excel as well. We've gone extremely out of our way to make sure that we cater to a lot of different content types and question types, so that assessments on AssessPrep can be very interactive, to cater for both MYP and DP and any other curricula that you run in your school. And our schools and our teachers, our educators are the inspiration behind a lot of the updates that we're bringing in this year, along with bunch of new use cases. So we've always seen schools use our platform for mock exams, especially for the MYPE assessment. But more and more we're seeing more use cases where AssessPrep is being used to do formatives, and whether it's entry slips or exit slips, just regular everyday quizzes and assignments as well. And just a new use case that we're exploring now is the live quiz, and that should be out soon as well. As for quick summary of the updates we've been working on for the last few months that have been pushed out just this month for all the schools. So we've been working on providing live attempt status for students while they're giving and taking the exam. So if you look at the monitor dashboard now and hover on the progress percentage, you'll see exactly which questions the students has attempted and which ones they have not, and also which questions they're active on right now. So it gives you another good summary of what's happening in the class at the time of the assessment. We've also released anonymous grading, which was a pretty big feature request from a lot of our teachers, that they want to be able to support that. And now when you're choosing your delivery settings, you can choose to have anonymous grading on. So when the submissions come in and when it's time to grade, you won't see real names, but there is a toggle that's provided for the administrator to be able to see the real names. We've also enhanced the handwritten submissions feature, which was already there, but we've made it better and faster. So just the same way as you would do earlier, you can scan the QR code from your phone, and the student can take the photo of whatever they've written down, whether it's their written answer or an additional graph or any other piece of document that they can upload along with the questions. You can also upload at the end of the test or together combined as a PDF. This has been a long awaited feature and ask from a lot of the schools, and finally we have released the IB MYP question bank for all our schools. A lot of you may be aware that we have two different plans now, the AssessPrep Standard and the AssessPrep Plus plan. And the Plus plan has over 100 pre-made, ready-to-use assessments for MYP5 and MYP4. That across, so there's almost like 10 or 15 tests for each subject, and we really hope that this helps new schools get onboarded really fast and get started quickly, because this was one of the biggest asks. And we've worked very closely with our community, our educators that are part of AssessPrep, and our internal team to build this bank. And as I mentioned, the Plus plan has over 100 tests. The Standard plan will also have about 20 tests so that you can get started with it. And if you need more, then you can upgrade to the Plus plan. Just to say, we're also working on an IB DP question bank, which is in the works, and we'll keep you posted on when that will be released. We've also enabled the built-in video proctoring, which was in beta for a bunch of schools. We've enabled this for all Plus customers as well. So initially, or on top of the fact that we support external video solutions like Google Meet, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams, we now also have an internal solution. But how this is beneficial is that you don't need to leave the monitoring dashboard as a teacher to be able to have all the students on the same video call. So you don't need to switch between two apps. And even for the students, while they're taking the test, the video call is right inside the test. So they also don't have to switch between tools, and it's a really smooth experience, and we hope you can try it out and give us feedback on how we can make this better. We've also launched the grading summary. I think this was released a little bit before the summer, but we've enhanced it and released it to all our schools. This is, I think, as part of our grading improvements, a lot of teachers have been saying that we need to make the grading process more efficient, and to be able to have one overall view where they can see which all questions are left ungraded or which words were not attempted. So this really gives a really nice bird's eye view of all the submissions that have come in, all the questions that have been attempted by each student, which ones have been graded, which ones are yet to be graded, and which ones you've put some comments in. So hopefully this will really make grading much more manageable. And we're still going to keep working on more features in grading and try to make that more efficient. We realize we have more work to do here. And this is the biggest of them all, for which we're going to be spending the next half an hour doing a deep dive. The ManageBac classes integration, which is basically the task and gradebook integration. And here we've already had the single sign-on from the beginning, where you can use the login credentials of your ManageBac account, whether you're a teacher, parent, administrator, or student, to also log into AssessPrep. And you've had the classroom sync, where your classrooms and your memberships of the classrooms remain in sync between ManageBac and AssessPrep. But we've introduced two new things now. One is the fact that you can create an assessment from right within a ManageBac task. If you have an existing assessment on AssessPrep, you can link that to a ManageBac task. And once you do that, the submissions that come in to that assessment get pushed back into the ManageBac gradebook as well. So you can do grading from inside ManageBac as well. So we're super excited about this integration, and we're going to take you through this in a bit. But just to show you how the single sign-on works, you have a waffle icon on the top right, which shows you all the different services inside ManageBac that you can switch to. And you will see AssessPrep right there. So you can switch to AssessPrep from within ManageBac without even logging into a separate website or app. And as I mentioned, within a task, now you can click on the Add Resource button and choose to either create a new online assessment or link one. And this opens a lot of possibilities, and we're going to just, as I mentioned, walk through this in detail. And from the student's perspective, you can actually start at the online test right from inside the ManageBac task as well. And once you have the submissions come back in, they come back into the gradebook along with the PDF, so you can grade here, and you can also annotate on top of that PDF. So let's dive right in to a real demo of how we can create and link an assessment. So I'm here logged into our demo ManageBac sandbox, which you can use to explore all of our new features. And I'm in a DP2 class, biology, right here. And let's say I open up a task here, which is the scientific method. And I go to Add Resource, and I see the buttons here to create an assessment or to link an assessment. Let's say I want to create a new assessment. You can see here, automatically the title is pre-filled with the same title as the task on ManageBac. A certain start date and time is already selected. You can choose a mode. These modes map to the same modes as AssessPrep. So any browser with security, or the lockdown application. Let's say I choose any browser for now. And this automatically creates an assessment on AssessPrep without me even having to go there. If I click on Open an AssessPrep, it takes me right to that assessment without even having to log in. So you're automatically logged in. You can see it's a blank assessment here. and I can add some content and questions to this. Let's say I add a particular question. For, let's say, 5 points. What you can see here is that there's an icon here that shows you that it's linked to a ManageBac task. Also, if I go back to ManageBac, I will see here now that this task is linked to ManageBac and it's a draft. Also, I'll see that the total points get synced. So as soon as I added a question to that assessment, I can see the points got updated here. There's 2 points. It also shows me it's an online assessment, and the access code or the join code is displayed right here as well. If I want to go back to AssessPrep or open the link on AssessPrep, there's a button right here to do that. If I want to unlink it, there's a button right here to delete this or to unlink the assessment, and I can unlink a new one if I need to change anything. Another thing you'll notice is that there were 4 students here that were chosen to take this task, and that has also, if I go to the Deliver tab, automatically synced here. So the DP bio class was synced, and these 4 students are mapped to take this assessment. You'll also notice that the collaborators or the teachers who are mapped in that classroom for that task are also automatically mapped to this. So this is going to save a lot of time, because the pieces just fit. So all you need to do is now choose your delivery settings, which again, if you change here, will change on ManageBac as well. So if I want a timed assessment here for 30 minutes, allow upload documents, I say save this. And if I refresh on ManageBac, I will notice that this is now a timed assessment of 30 minutes. So both systems stay in sync now, even for this task. Now, let's say that I have an existing assessment that I want to link. So if I go back to my tasks and I go to a different task, let's say DNA quiz, and for this particular task, I choose the link online assessment option. Now here, you'll see a list of assessments that belong to this. So if you're in a DP class, this is automatically showing you the DP2 assessments for biology. And you can just search by name or even by join code. So if you want to look for a specific assessment, you can just click the join code here and it will find that for you. Or you can see the list of tests anyway. Now, I have a biology assessment that's already created. I can preview it right here. It shows me it's an online assessment, 28 points, 1 hour timed assessment, and it's got 3 sections with a bunch of multiple choice questions. So I can preview this, and let's say I want to link this assessment. So I'll say add online assessment. Again, at the bottom, it's going to show you that this resource, this assessment has been linked. And if I want to open it on AssessPrep, I click on it. And you notice this is an existing one with 3 sections. Each section has a bunch of questions. And this is now linked to a ManageBac task, which we just did. And again, if I go to the Deliver tab, I'll notice that the class has already been mapped with these students. And I just need to, if I want to make any changes, I can, or I can just go ahead and now publish this test to allow the students to start to take it. Now, from a student's perspective, if I log in as a student on ManageBac and I look at my upcoming tasks, I will notice now that the DNA quiz which I just linked, will be visible for the student in the upcoming task list. And if I go to the, and it will be as at the appropriate time that you scheduled it to be. So because I chose the time of Sorry, let's just check the schedule time because it's 17th September 2020. Fortunately, what I chose. I'm going to have to jump ahead for the student. And I see my assessment right here. And if when I open it, this actually opens right inside ManageBac. So because this is an online assessment that doesn't require the security mode, it'll open up inside ManageBac. If this was an online assessment with security, this would open up this will give you a link to open in AssessPrep. And if it was an app, a test with the lockdown mode, it would again give you the option to open it, launch the app from right here, from within the ManageBac task. So let's just jump into what happens when a submission comes back into ManageBac. So I have a task here for the MYP, for example, a physics assessment, which was for criteria A and B, which has a bunch of students mapped and AssessPrep assessment linked. And a submission did come back here by the name of Rachel. So I can see if I want to look at it on AssessPrep, I click on the online assessment submission. Or if I want to look at the PDF that came through, I click on this PDF. Let's say I want to click on the name of the student to open the split screen gradebook on ManageBac. The split screen gradebook basically means that on one side, you'll see the AssessPrep response, and on the other side, you're seeing the ManageBac grading view. So here I can actually look at all the responses of the student right inside ManageBac. And since this is an achievement level or a criteria assessment, I can actually grade right on ManageBac. So let's say in criteria A, I want to assign 5, or in criteria B, I want to assign a 3. And I also want to assign some comments here. What you'll notice is that these scores that I just assigned also get synced back to AssessPrep. So you got a 5 on 8 and a 3 on 8 with the comments. So you can choose to grade the MYP achievement level assessments straight from ManageBac, and the scores stay in sync. And if it was a points-based assessment for DP, or if it was criteria with points, you would right inside this iframe or this frame, the split screen gradebook here, you'll be able to assign the points for each question right here, and they would update on ManageBac the total scores. So we've built in a two-way sync essentially for grading. So if you grade from within ManageBac scores, the scores stay in sync on both systems. And it's that simple. If I want to look at the PDF file, I click on that and I see this was sent in to ManageBac when the students submitted the test. And I can use the annotation tools on ManageBac itself to annotate. And yeah, so that's the end-to-end integration that we've just launched for a few schools in beta, and we would be gradually opening it up for all schools. So as I mentioned, you can create or link assessments, and you can find the submissions come back into the ManageBac gradebook and grade from within ManageBac as well.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Shikha. That was a great summary of all the features that we have with ManageBac and AssessPrep. I personally found it really helpful, and I hope the audience did as well. We have a lot of questions, so it's good that we have about 25-30 minutes to cover all of those questions. So we have were able to answer most of the questions in the chat itself, but I think it'll be helpful for other people if we ask those questions, and Shikhar, if you could answer those. So I guess the first question we have is the what additional features are on AssessPrep Plus. So that is something that I will cover towards the end. The next one is, how does the lockdown feature work? It only allows the test to be seen, no other tabs, etc. That's a question from Chris. I hope that's just asking what is the difference between the lockdown mode and the online tests with no security.
Okay, sure. We can take this question now, and we can take the rest in the Q&A. So AssessPrep has 3 modes in which you can take the assessment. It could either be online, which basically means any browser. So the student can take a test through any browser on the desktop or a mobile phone, usually meant for low stakes quizzes or assignments or homework. Then there's the online with security, which means that the student can take the test on any browser, but there is some security associated, which means that if a student tries to change tabs or go into a different application or go into their notes, then it gets flagged and in the logs, and the teacher is notified in the live invigilation dashboard. And when the student comes back to the test, they have to enter an explanation as to why they left. So that still allows a certain amount of flexibility to take the test in any browser, but it has a certain level of security to deter. So it's for medium stakes kind of assessments. And then there's the lockdown app, which is for high stakes assessments or exams, which basically means that the student takes the test through our special offline desktop application, which locks down the computer, which means that when they're taking the test, they won't be able to access anything else. No other browser, no other files, no file explorer, no documents, nothing. When they're in the test application, they're only allowed to take the test. So those are the 3 different modes.
Awesome. I understand you have an audience poll. Sorry, I interrupted you there, and then we can jump to the rest of the questions.
Yeah. So I just wanted to get an idea of, based on all the back to school updates that we've just been talking about, which updates you guys would be most looking forward to. So that you'll see a poll now, you'll see a question on your screens, and we'll leave this open for 30-40 seconds to get some feedback. It's nice to see the feedback coming in. We're just going to leave it open for another 20 seconds. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. I'm just going to close this question now. Great. Moving on. Yeah, Lakshya, we can jump to the questions from the audience.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Shikhar. Thanks again for the lovely presentation. This was really helpful. Jumping back to the questions. So there are a lot of questions. So I'm going to quickly see the relevant ones. Is the anonymous grading designed for a peer-to-peer feedback? Is a question again from Chris Irvin.
So the anonymous grading is designed actually for teachers to be impartial. So a lot of schools requested that in some cases they want to remove the bias from while grading. So when a teacher is, or maybe multiple teachers are grading the submissions from one assessment, that they shouldn't be able to see whose assessment they're grading. So from that perspective, anonymous grading was introduced.
Got it. Got it. I hope, Chris, we were able to answer your question. The next one comes in from Sonal. The question is, by when do we plan to implement the gradebook integration between AssessPrep and ManageBac? And what settings need to be checked and changed for implementing this feature?
So as mentioned, we've opened it up for a few schools in beta already. And I think by the end of this month, by the end of October, we will open it up for most schools. And in terms of settings, you really don't have to do much. If your ManageBac integration is on, it would mean that your task and gradebook integration is on as well. So all you need to do is link or create an assessment, or so basically establish the link between an MB task, a ManageBac task, and an assessment on AssessPrep. And as soon as that is done, your submissions that come to AssessPrep will get pushed into ManageBac Gradebook in like real time. So as soon as the student sends a submission, it also goes into ManageBac.
Awesome. There are a few questions about the MYP question bank. People are asking about how were we able to collect those question bank, who helped us develop it, and is it useful for the MYP e-assessments or not?
Absolutely, it will be very useful for the MYP e-assessments. It is currently for MYP 4 and 5. And it was a long time request from a lot of our MYP schools that they wanted a bank to start with, so they don't have to start from scratch. And we worked very hard with our community of teachers that use AssessPrep, and we have over like we have over like 40,000 teachers that use AssessPrep, and there's so much resource that's produced. It's almost over 1 million resources that have been produced on AssessPrep, 700,000 questions. So we've tried to tap into the community, into the authors that are already in the community, and built a bank from scratch with them and our internal team of educators. So we're open to feedback on the bank, and happy to make changes and add things as the feedback we get.
Okay, awesome. The next one we have from Mutomi. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Does the AssessPrep ManageBac integration is it included in the AssessPrep standard subscription?
Absolutely. So the ManageBac integration, which is the single sign-on, the classroom sync, the task integration, the gradebook integration, everything will be included in standard and plus both.
All right, perfect. Then I'm looking through the questions. There are a couple about how to get started with the trial. Come back to those in the end. There's one about the criteria-based assessment specifically. I know you covered this, Shikhar, but somebody's asking, how will the grading work for criteria-based assessment with this integration?
Right. So, so with MYP, we have two rubric types that we support, which is one is achievement level, so where you're basically assigning a criteria level overall for the assessment out of 8 for A, B, C, or D. In that scenario, the grading can happen automatically inside ManageBac using the criteria level indicator that I showed you. The second rubric, which is criteria with points, which is used mostly for the mock e-assessments for MYP on AssessPrep. The criteria with points, the scores again will get pushed, the submission will automatically get pushed into ManageBac and the PDF as well. But because there is still points given per question in that, the grading would have to be on AssessPrep, but it can still be in the split screen gradebook. As I showed you, that you can view the AssessPrep view on the left side and the ManageBac grading on the right side. So you'll be able to put in the question-wise scores on AssessPrep, and it would get updated on ManageBac as total points.
Okay, great. I hope we answered that question. The next one is from Madhusudanan. The question is, what happens when selected students from different classes of the same grade are given an assessment from AssessPrep V2? How would the importing take place for those questions, for those exams?
So currently, for any assessment that needs to be linked to a ManageBac task, we're only supporting one-on-one mapping, which means that when you're creating a task in a particular class on ManageBac, that is the class that will be mapped to a AssessPrep assessment. So if you want to give the same assessment to multiple classes, you would have to create multiple ManageBac tasks first. So that is currently the flow, but we will keep working on that as this is phase 1, and I'm sure we'll be making more improvements.
Great. Just a great little thank you note for you, Shikhar, and the R&D team. Chris Irwin is thanking the team to work on these upgrades. These are really appreciated, not just for remote learning, but also for academic integrity and other things. So thanks, Chris, and thanks to the team as well. Okay, moving on. So the question that we have here is, would AssessPrep, would ManageBac administration have the access to AssessPrep exams before they are published? I think they mean the AssessPrep question bank for everybody.
I'm sorry, Alakshay, could you repeat that question?
Yeah, so would ManageBac administrators have access to the AssessPrep exams before they are published?
So currently how AssessPrep works is that if a teacher creates their own test or assessment, the administrator can see all the assessments in the school if they go to the library page. But the teacher does have the ability to go ahead and publish it and deliver it, because you don't want the administrator to be a bottleneck if the teacher just wants to do some regular assessments. So we've given them the ability, but the administrators can see every assessment that's being done in the school. And even for the question bank, so if anybody is using the bank and they add it to their assessments and then they modify it and deliver it, the administrator can see everything, but not necessarily approve or control when it is executed. I think that we leave that to the internal communication.
Awesome. Next one is from Mr. Mark. The question is, does the new integration support student differentiation?
Absolutely. So that's a good point that you mentioned. I think I might have missed it in the demo. But if you choose, that this ManageBac task is meant only for these 2 students, and you choose differentiation, and then you link it to an AssessPrep assessment, the mapping that transfers to the assessment is only those 2 students. So yes, the differentiation is also in sync.
Awesome. There's a question on the logistics side with Jerry. The question is, how do schools know about their integration as of now? So do you want to just, I think this was answered previously, but do you just want to answer it for the wider audience?
So I think we've just been, we put out a blog post announcing it, that, and so we've been working with a few schools, about 7 schools that have it turned on right now in beta mode, and we're just gathering feedback. And I think towards the end of this month, we'll start rolling it out to all our schools. So you'll hear from us very soon if it's not already enabled for you.
All right. I'm just going through the questions. A bunch of questions about trials. So I think I'll jump to that in the meantime. Should we move to the next slide, Shikhar? Do you have another poll question?
So, I'll just address one more question or thought, which for schools that are customers and used to using AssessPrep already, this is the flow that we're kind of sharing from inside ManageBac. You can still always, when you open AssessPrep, you will still see a list of all your assessments. You can still create a new assessment from AssessPrep itself. And once it's created, then come back to a ManageBac task and link it, right? So it's not just that you're accessing them from within ManageBac, but you have full independent standalone access just as normal on AssessPrep as well. And for monitoring the assessments, you will come to AssessPrep and use the monitor tab to see the live progress. I think we missed that in the demo, but I could just quickly, if you give me a moment, Akshay, I want to share this screen.
Right.
For example, if we were looking at AssessPrep on its own, you will see the list of all the assessments that are here, and you'll see which ones are linked to a ManageBac task and which ones are not. So, and if I look at a particular which has submissions, for example, this one, I open it and I see my Create tab where I'm able to, add more content and questions. My Deliver tab where I can see the settings and the mappings. The Monitor tab, which shows me all the live progress. So, which questions has the student attempted? Are they online, offline right now? Which computer or device are they using? Which class are they mapped to? When they started the test? How much time is left? How many files they've uploaded? What status they're on, whether they're submitted or still taking it. You can chat with them one-on-one. You can make an announcement to everybody or to select for a few students. So you've got this full functionality on your dashboard, and to view their logs and add extra time as well. So all of that still happens on AssessPrep. It's just that when you link it, all your submissions that come into AssessPrep, which you can see here, also get pushed to ManageBac along with the scores and the PDF file, and then they stay in sync. So if you're assigning a score here, it goes to ManageBac as well. If you're assigning a criteria level on ManageBac, it gets updated on AssessPrep as well. And once you're happy with the grading, you publish result, and the student can then see the feedback. So yeah.
Thanks for covering that, Shikhar. In the meantime, we have received a few more questions, so if you don't mind answering those
absolutely.
as well.
We have time.
So the question comes in from Rosa. They're asking about the question bank currently is for MYP grade 4 and 5. Are there plans of adding this to the DP cohort as well?
Yes. So that's what we're working on now with our internal team and again our community of DP teachers. So we're working on the DP question bank. We'll keep you posted on dates for that.
Great. And then next one is from Mr. Jerry. They're asking, with version 2, AssessPrep v2, do we still have the opportunity to download the desktop version of AssessPrep?
Yes. So if I can actually show that quickly as well. So as a teacher or as a student, if you go to the download app section, it gives you the app links for the different operating systems, whether it's Mac, Windows, or iPad, and you can download the apps. And the apps work for all test modes. So you could do an online test as well from the app. You could take the secure test from the app, but the offline mode, the lockdown app mode, definitely requires the application, because then the application closes off everything else. So yes, absolutely, the application is still there, but we've tried to make the delivery much more simpler and easier by delivering through browsers and through our app.
Sweet. We have at least 4 or 5 schools commenting about them being included in the beta phase. So I guess just to quickly address that, if your school is interested to join the beta phase, please send us an email at support@managebac.com or support@assessprep.com, and our teams will be in touch soon and include you in the next batch of beta schools. And as Shikhar mentioned, later this month, we would be opening up this feature to the rest of the schools. So in case we're not able to include you in the beta phase, you will still be able to access the integration later this month. There's one very specific question about the support side of things, and I think it's important we mention that. So Mr. Muthomi is asking, as a technology coach in the school, all the teachers look up to me for experience and challenges. I manage all of these myself. Do you have an instant support channel at your end?
So I think there are a few ways to reach out to us. First, obviously, we do have very detailed guides that should be able to assist you in any situation, including the troubleshooting and FAQ guides. And if you go to the help section, you will see all the different guides that are downloadable as PDFs, and so you can keep them handy when needed. On top of this, obviously, we have a feedback section right here at the top, which you can use to report an issue or give us any feedback or suggest a feature. Alternatively, you can also write to us at support@assessprep.com, and we usually try to respond within 24 hours. I hope that does help.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. If you're a new school wanting to get on board with AssessPrep, we would be also assigning you an implementation manager who would be guiding you through those tutorials, through those videos, and giving you one-on-one sessions. And those would be complimentary. We do not charge for online trainings for the implementation phase. I guess just we have 3 or 4 more schools asking for how to enable a trial. I will cover that. But before that, I assume, Shikhar, you have a poll question.
Yes, I did have one more. Sorry, I think I seem to have jumped to the first slide. Right, sorry. Just had one more question for everybody here. I'm just going to open that up and you'll see it on your screens. This is just to gauge what next you would like to see on AssessPrep. We're already working on all of these, but just to get an idea of what most you would be looking forward to. You should be seeing a question on your screen now. We're happy to see some responses coming in, so we'll just leave it open for another 20 seconds. Thank you so much. I'm just going to close the poll now. I think a lot of you are excited to see the IPDP question bank, so we'll try to prioritize that first. Yeah, and Lakshay, back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think I'll just take a moment, Shikhar, to appreciate all the time that you've given us with demonstrating the features, answering all the questions right between the session. I know there were some tricky ones as well, and you were able to answer those. So thanks a lot once again before we move to the logistics and the remaining half of the section. All right, sweet. So to the attendees, I know this was being asked. So these are just some testimonials from our partner schools. We really appreciate their feedback, and because of that, we've been able to grow to over 200 schools now with AssessPrep. Moving on to the questions that team were asking about what are the difference between the standard subscription and the plus subscription. We have a detailed comparison on ManageBac.com/AssessPrep-sign up. So please go there and access the differences. But just to quickly explain, the standard is basically getting started with AssessPrep. If you're new, it will give you all the interactive questions, all the test formats and different areas of AssessPrep with the Desmos calculator and stuff. With the plus subscription is where we would give you enhanced access to the question bank, as Shikhar mentioned, more than 100 question papers. You still get some question papers within standard, but the whole subscription comes with the plus option. Plus option also gives you more features like the audio feedback, test-wise analytics, anonymized marking, which Shikhar covered earlier, embedded video proctoring, and a bunch of other features. So if you are interested, please send us your inquiries or schedule demos with us. We'll be happy to take that. All the links would be there in the link that we have here. I would also drop that in the chat before we conclude. Moving on, how to get started. So I guess there are 2 options: existing ManageBac schools, or if you are an admin, all you need to do is just make use of our new services manager. Services manager is a place where you go and see all the FARIA services, including the admissions platform, Open Apply, School to Home, Schools Buddy, AssessPrep for online assessments, and many more. So you just need to go there by clicking on settings and then services manager within your ManageBac account and enable a trial without any involvement of the account manager. So you can just enable your trial, and then everything is enabled within a single sign-on and all the other access with a single click. If not, if you are not able to find it, or if you're not an admin user, just send us an email at sales@managebac.com, and we will take your queries and get your trial activated within the next 24 hours. Once the trial is activated, you would be able to see the student accounts within AssessPrep with a simple click. You would be able to explore the single sign-on option, which is all users, including students, teachers, and admins, will be able to access AssessPrep without any credentials. The classroom sync, so all the ManageBac classes will appear in your AssessPrep account, so you don't have to create separate groups like you have to on other systems. And then last but not least, the latest gradebook and task integration, wherein you can create your assessments, link your assessments within ManageBac, and then take the grading and the final submissions come back into ManageBac. So that evades a lot of manual work, as Shikhar covered earlier in the presentation. So that will all be done instantly, and as soon as that's done, we will be giving you the guided implementation videos, the support channels, and an implementation manager to guide you through the process of getting started. I know there was a question about support, so that is something that the team champions and we really value. So please make use of that. If you're already a using customer of AssessPrep, feel free to send us emails about any new features that you would like to explore. All right. On that note, I think that concludes the session from my side. And I think Shikhar has a final question for you in a poll format. So over to you, Shikhar.
Thank you again, Lakshay. Just Chris has mentioned that we did not allow multiple answers for poll 3. I'm sorry, that's an oversight. But yeah, at least we got, what your topmost priority was. But thanks for pointing that out, Chris. Just opening up the last question, which is very straightforward. And this will help us basically reach out to you. If you guys do want to start off with a trial, then our team will reach out to you. I think the question should be on your screen. Just going to give it another 15-20 seconds.
Yeah, in the meantime, thank you all for joining us for this webinar. I hope you found this helpful. And we will be bringing you the updates in different formats of blog posts, videos, or emails. So please, please get in touch if you are not familiar with any feature, if you have any questions about any of these updates. Thanks again. Stay safe. And yeah, it was great having you all on this call.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to close the poll. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon.